All right. This is actually Sarah. We're going to be installing Habitat Home Commerce. So a neat solution for you to get started in, start plugging away and customize it since there's a bunch of code examples already. So today we'll be seeing how we are going to install it. So there's a Git repo where you have the Sitecore Habitat Commerce. One of the prerequisites is to do the Sitecore Habitat content before you get to this, so that is in its own repo as well. A couple of pointers from my end, since I've done this at least 20 to 30 times already, is that one, I would personally install XP. So Sitecore 9 update 2 followed by Sitecore 9, Commerce 9 update 2 before you get into anything else with these two repos. So just make sure you install all these modules in exactly the way it's been given there, and as part of the other and both the installs you will have your URL rewrite and stuff installed anyways. And then if you go ahead and install the commerce, you will have the HTTPS enabled on it so that you won't see any SSL issues. And then on top of that, you want to make sure that you install publishing service after you install the Sitecore Commerce. So this weekend when I was trying to set things up, I had installed the publishing service before Commerce, and I was seeing timeouts when it was trying to install Commerce Connect Core, any of the update packages, and any of the modules. And so I replaced the publishing service with the old publishing module, and then everything worked fine. It didn't time out, and then I replaced the configs to bring back the publishing service, just because once you install Commerce and these on top of that, it just becomes super difficult to publish anything. It takes forever. All right, first let's make sure that HTTPS is enabled. Our URL comes up fine. One thing I want to mention is in this demo, I'm trying to make sure everything stays to spec, like the domain name, the paths, and things like that. But if you start changing those, there's quite a few places where you have to tweak in order for it to work. So just be mindful of that. So we have everything set. There's really not much we need to change after that. It's mainly getting into these three files which we have to modify. So go ahead and clone the repos for both content as well as commerce. Once you get the content repo, open up the solution as well as the publish settings target in there. So these are the three files which we have to modify. Double check your settings to make sure they are exist in here. And following which you have to do the npm install, and then you could actually run the task. So either you could do it from the command prompt, or you could run it from here. There's a couple of things which you have to keep in mind. So there is, I think, something in here which was so the workaround. So essentially, in order for it to not give you any trouble, what am I looking for? All right, not give you any trouble. Let's go in here, projects. So you just have to uncheck that, I believe, to make it easier for you. Me personally, I don't like building and all of that via Visual Studio. I like it. I like building it and deploying it in here. So let's go ahead to npm install. So once that is taken care of, let's do bin, do gulp. I just want to do this. And then let's see where that takes us. So it's going to take some time to do the builds and also some time to do the push of all the unicorn. And having done this before several times, you probably are going to see that unicorn completed, and then it's going to give you an error, in which case you rerun the whole build, or you could just run the sync unicorn task. It's totally up to you, but either way, it will go through fine. Okay, it looks like it's pushing unicorn. Take a bit of time for it to push through all the items because all of these are new. All right, looks like it finished all of the sync. It's publishing right now. It should say completed, and if everything goes well, it should look nice and shiny, but I have a feeling since I've run it so many times, it's going to say completed, and then it's going to give a couple of unicorn errors. Let's see what happens. See if my experience in running this is predicting what's going to happen. Let's have a look. Okay, so my prediction was right. So it did finish, and then it gives you these errors. Essentially, something seems to be an issue with Unicorn. So you can either check it like unicorn.aspx, or in my case, you're going to be running multiple builds anyways in order to push your code. It doesn't really make any difference if you just repush it. So essentially, when you do that the second time over, it actually finishes successfully. Okay, so if everything finished, this is how you should be looking at everything, which is what should happen. Let's have a look. So I don't really know, we would have to publish it because I'm not changing the host. I really don't think I need to modify the SXA site manager, which you probably have to do if you modified the host name to be something different than habitathome.dev.local. So let's wait till these load. All right, so we got our base site, as you can see. No commerce elements yet, but it is going fine. It looks like it's functioning. I haven't really tested much, but the next part of this is first to push the commerce habitat home commerce on top of this and see how that takes. So far the site loads and seems to be doing okay. Let's see how we can get commerce on top of it. Yep, so we have the site loading the content site anyways. It doesn't seem, well, it doesn't have the commerce elements yet, but so far it's running okay. For the next part, which is the commerce, clone the repo, and again, just check the 3 files to make sure that all the paths match. In my case, I'm just keeping everything default, so I shouldn't have any issues, but in your case, you might change the folder and something like that. So make sure you clone. Let's get back here. Let's do npm install, and then let's go ahead and run the command to push the build, which will also push the commerce, and then we have one last step where we deploy the commerce engine. So let's go ahead. Initial, I think. All right, and this will take a bit because it has to build and push. Oh, very nice. All right, so good place to stop. So essentially, this is something I've been meaning to commit. It's my fault. Well, not really my fault, but it's my fault that I didn't commit yet. So there is in the NuGet config, you have to comment that line out because it was used for testing for for Sitecore purposes. So that's fine. Let's run it again. This time I'll go through. So that's a good catch. I'd really have to do a pull request and check that in, which I will today, hopefully. Let's wait for this. It's gonna do a bunch of build. It's going to push Unicorn as well. So it's still going, doing a bunch of Unicorn updates and deletes and adds. So let's see where it ends up. Seems like Commerce has a lot more content to push than the Habitat Home content, which makes sense. It's still going. Let's just see. I'll unpause when it's all done. All right, now we're on to publishing everything which was synced. Okay, so this finished, which is great. That's the deploy solution. Right now, let's publish and make sure that the publishing is done as well. The one last step which we have to do, which is deploy Commerce Engine. Let's have a look to see if we need to change anything. In my case, like I mentioned, I have not modified anything, so I don't need to. But if you are, I do know that there's quite a few things you need to change. So these are one, there is config JSON, app settings JSON and stuff which you have to modify and tweak with. If you modify the names of any of the engines or anything like that. So we will wait till the publish is done, and then we'll run this and then see what comes off of it. And that's, I think, the last thing we need to do. All right, as you can see, the publish finished. We are set to run our deploy commerce engine. And let's see what it does. I am going to let it run, then I'll unpause it if it breaks or if there is an issue or anything of that sort. Okay, so this finished. One stupid thing I did is I did not include the bootstrap or initialize at the end. I'm going to rerun this, but that should take care of that. All right, hold on. Okay, there you go. There you go. While we are there, I just wanted to mention that the hero of the day for me is Viet. I don't know if you know him or not, but typically this is the error you're going to get if you just run it right now when you do a git clone and git pull. So he has the fix for it. It's in a pull request. I think JF needs to add it in, but it definitely works for me. It does a lot of blogging on commerce. He's a very nice guy. He even offered to help in a couple of instances. So definitely check out his blog, as well as give him a shout out when he's on the commerce channel in Slack, as well as when he's on Twitter and stuff like that. But definitely help me out. So this is a great use for me. All right, so it seems to now run properly without errors. It's bootstrapping and initializing. So anytime configuration changes, you have to bootstrap it. There is a Postman script for you to do that, as well as initialize. So it just syncs up the configuration on disk with the database, so everything works in harmony, because Commerce, it takes stuff from the database and then injects it into the Sitecore portion of it. So this is pretty crucial for us to do that. Otherwise, the catalog or any of the items and things like that won't show up in your Sitecore tree. So we're just waiting for that to go through. Looks like it is going to finish successfully. I'm hoping. It should, and then we'll take it from there. Once that's done, what I'll do is I'll do another publish, maybe a reindex, just to make sure all the items which are supposed to be there are going to be in there. One other point I wanted to make is the SXA master and web indexes don't get created with this. So you're going to have to add those cores manually, push the schema, and then do the reindex on those. Otherwise, yeah, those would be missing, and they'll give you odds and ends errors here and there. So it looks like it's going through. Let's just wait. Once that's done, I will do the publish, and then let's check out. So that's finished. I'll get the publish done, and then I'll show you how the site looks. All right, so the site loaded up. As you can see, it looks kind of similar, but you can see that there is a concept of a cart over there. There are products over here, and you can interact with this. So that should be at the end of it. We already gave kind of like the credits, if you wanted to say that. So JF from Sitecore was extremely helpful with this. Elena from Hedgehog, she's sweet and she was so helpful. Of course, Camrose was telling me it's my fault when things failed, but he was a help. And then we had pull requests definitely helped me out. So all of these are great, and you gotta give credit where credit's due. So that concludes that. So in the next blog post, maybe we can talk about how to debug a commerce solution and things. But as you guys know, any questions you have, please feel free to post it on Sitecore Stack Exchange. It's an amazing resource. Also, Sitecore Slack, there's a commerce channel. Again, a lot of people pretty busy, and people are willing to help you, but remember they have their own jobs as well. So, all right, thank you, and talk to you soon.